My name is Paul Brumbaugh, and you're on the edge. I'm sitting here sheltering in place. Basically, it's Thursday. Friday, some of the retail here in California starts opening up, but we're still sheltering in place. I'm doing it the only way I can with my friends. Joining me from Sexploration with Monika Thomas. How you doing, dear?
Hey, good. There's 51 days of quarantine.
Wow.
I personally am not actually wearing pants. I'm wearing yoga pants, sort of like pants, not really very comfortable.
Right.
Woo!
I've got my shorts. I've got my, down to the knees shorts. Almost like cargo, but they're jeans. Shorts and a t-shirt. I'm comfy.
Yeah, no, it's important to be comfy in times like these. My slogan actually is meditate, masturbate, rinse, repeat.
Okay,
And
so that's for our
well,
little apocalypse going on right now?
well, I have been doing like a meditation practice I'm looking for fun enlightenment and some things that I have discovered about sexual energy is that both the traditions of Tantra and BDSM are leading us to this place of connection with each other and also connection to source, the light within each of us, and also um, something bigger. A lot of people are calling it the quantum field these days,
Well, it's
the
really
infinite possibilities.
now I've known you for years now and I know that you have a very open mind and you're always looking for ways to
Get better,
create,
make the
get
world
better.
better.
Yeah, and help others. And so,
Yeah.
like even the last little field trip you and I did, didn't we get acupuncture?
Yes, we did, because that's one of the ways that we can heal ourselves by aligning our meridians, right? Like it's ancient Chinese wisdom, really.
Right. All the bodies got zones, and every one kind of
Exactly.
does a little thing
Mm-hmm.
different. And so,
Yeah. And how did you feel afterwards?
wow. I wanted to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really relaxing too.
And even the place we went to was not that. It was probably the, let's say, most economical value because a
It
lot of those
was.
places are
Yeah.
probably
99 bucks a
expensive.
month. So it's pretty good deal.
If I had the money, I would
I
definitely do it.
know.
Right?
Yeah. I wish it was covered by insurance, but
It should be. Some
don't
insurances actually
get
cover
me
it.
started about, yeah, how crappy the American healthcare system is, because we've really discovered that in this pandemic.
We've discovered a lot of things about our
The
system that
cracks
are
are
flawed.
showing. Mm-hmm.
Right? Um, a lot of things from the healthcare. Look at the stuff about how states are getting their PPE stuff right now.
Mm-hmm. They're
People,
fighting each other for it.
yeah, they're bidding like eBay, and
Right.
these are people's lives. I'm glad that some of the governors of different states are actually, I think it was Florida was one of them, actually said, "Oh, we have enough supplies. Don't
Yeah.
send us anymore." And,
Right.
and it's like, okay, great. I'm glad you
That's
finally
cool.
got that.
Well, and Governor Newsom actually sent 500 respirators to New York City. It was
Right.
great that we had more than we needed and we could share. Like, that's pretty awesome. Of course, it's because Californians have been like hunkering down for a super long time.
Yeah, like 51 days you said, right?
Yeah, we do not get to go out and go play.
Well, it looks like you're nice and relaxed. You look like you've been out and about. Are you
Well,
enjoying the space around your house? I see the beautiful flowers behind you.
basically, I've been doing a lot of gardening and meditating,
Okay.
and I've been working on my show. So basically, what the shelter in place has given me is an opportunity to like remove all the distractions and just be in my own space, in my own mind, and really start to unpack, what is in my mind? What am I motivated by? And that's what meditation is all about. And I think that a lot of people are really uncomfortable with meditation because you actually have to sit with yourself and really hear the thoughts that are like crazy and like self-doubting. A lot of us have, trouble with depression or
Right.
anxiety. And I mean, if you think about it, you are doing the best you can, right?
Right.
You have as much information as you have, and you're making the best choices. And that's how you've been for your entire life. And when you learn more, you can do more. And I think that some of the things that are holding us back, like, not believing in yourself and the self doubt, like, you can let that go. Like, it's safe to let that go. And it's actually just, holding you back. It's holding down your energy. And just imagine, like how much better and how much energy you would have if you didn't have to doubt yourself.
Yeah, there's all that stress and anxiety and stuff bottled up in
Exactly.
with you now. I deal with stress and anxiety and depression, and you know that. But, and I know a lot of us, at least for me, you were talking about unpacking things. A lot of us
Yeah.
have
Really thinking about
emotions, feelings,
the programming.
things that have happened that we've had to
That's right.
compartmentalize and put up on a shelf and say,
I
I'm
will
going to
just
get
think about
back
that
to you.
later.
I'm going to get back to you when I can. And guess what? It's that time.
Well, this is a good time to really confront it. And I think a lot of people are really uncomfortable because they're trying to get back to those old habits. Um, I've had some really strange experiences. Like, I'm working on a case where I'm trying to take a former boyfriend slash employer to small claims court. And I had a lawyer say that they were going to help me, but only if I would come over right now. It was basically like the middle of the night. And he didn't even know that I had a sex radio show. Like, he just thought I was like just a normal woman. And he's going to like treat me like a sex worker just because he has the power. But he thinks he's like a fancy hotshot lawyer. And because he's, been sheltering in place for whatever, I think it was 45 days at that point,
Right.
he's going to be all like, anyone who's answering the phone, and I think he was also wasted, because he was not, he was
He was
not
not
thinking clearly.
of right mind.
No.
No.
I was like, are you going to remember this in the morning? Probably not.
Or maybe that's just his MO. There's a lot of creepy people out there. It doesn't matter if you're a guy or a girl, but yeah, guys
Totally.
tend to be that way.
Well, it isn't about male or female.
No, it's not.
about power, and it's
Right.
about whether or not you own your own feelings and impulses, or whether and you are trying to collaborate with people and be a good person. Or if you are just in darkness and in scarcity, and you're like, oh, I'm so like, I'm lonely, I'm angry, I hate everyone, and like, why don't you give me everything? Like, that kind of energy is going to be really, well, people are not going to want to hang out with you, by the way.
Right.
And then you have to like resort to weird tricks and weird power games to try to get them to hang out with you. And by the way, that is not the way to go.
No, it's not.
Better just to be like, hi, I'm a freak, I'm authentically myself. And then,
well, nowadays that's not an issue.
Exactly. They're like, oh, I'm a freak too. I
Cool.
think my freakiness will get together with your freakiness and we can be freaks together.
Yeah, and there's a percentage of like people like that. Yeah.
Totally.
Wow, chicka wow wow. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
All of the chicka wows. Yeah.
Yeah, I hear the bad porn music from the 70s.
Right,
Okay, gotcha.
exactly.
All right.
Chicken brown cow.
All right. So now, you're trying to find that energy and that focus, and
That's right.
And
I'm actually finding it, which is cool. I mean, it's not perfect, right?
Right.
So sometimes you can focus, and then sometimes you can't, and it just depends on the day. And just be with yourself wherever you are, and continue to love yourself and have compassion for where you are in the moment. And life is change. So no matter where you are right now, you're going to change. And so just be in the present moment and be with yourself, and That's the thing about, like, first life is change, and then keep breathing,
Right.
and keep being authentic, and things are going to start manifesting in a way, I think, that's better,
Now I
because you
know,
can be who you are.
right. And I know for me, it all starts off with, because a lot of people are like, where do I start? I've
Yeah.
never meditated. I don't do yoga. I'm all stressed out. For me, it just started with mindfulness.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
Yeah.
and then kind of integrating
And
some breathing.
breathing.
Mindfulness is just putting yourself in a place where, for one, your
Totally.
phone is off.
Yeah. And that's
You're away
hard
from
too, right?
distractions. That you're feeling about as good as you can, and then, which I had to make sure my phone was on silent mode after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then take that breath, and then you're trying to find that center. And when you're breathing, you're really focusing on your in and out, and also your chest rising, and trying to find your center. Now, a lot of the times, because we're so stressed and things are going on, we just kind of drift away.
Yeah.
But we can kind of bring it back. We can
Mhm.
bring it back to center. So that's really what we're trying to do, is we're trying to connect.
Yeah. Well, connect. So when you're meditating, you're connecting with yourself.
Right.
You're connecting with your inner wisdom and your inner voices. And even if your inner voices are not 100%, loving and compassionate and where you need them to be, that can change. Just, have compassion. I mean, we live in a system of abuse and hierarchy and power. And so we've all had, negative voices that we've internalized. And the reason that we internalize those negative voices is because we're trying to protect ourselves from having those negative things happen again. And so a lot of the things in sexuality, we're trying to unlearn the trauma of our past.
Right.
And so we can have healthy relationships.
Well, and like you said,
possible.
it's trauma based, because
That's right.
the root of it, it's not because they have sexual dysfunction, it's not because of these other things. It's really, if we kind of get to the root of everything, it kind of breaks down right there, is that they just needed to be able to
be safe
and
be in their body,
and
be
then
in the moment,
and be retrained, because
and you have to retrain yourself.
yeah.
I mean, I wish that I could, retrain like, let's say I have a boyfriend, I wish I could, like, do the work for him.
Right.
But, you can't.
Right.
You can only want to change yourself and change yourself.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know?
you can't.
Be
When
the
they say you
change
can't
you want
change,
to
you can't
see in the
change someone
world.
else. You can't
Yeah.
change someone else. And you were talking about those voices that are not always that
Yeah,
productive or that
kind.
positive. I have an inner critic.
Right?
Every time
We
I
all
go to do
do.
something, he's like, "No, it ain't gonna work." Yeah.
Not good enough. Oh, yeah, I could have done that better, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, now that I've, like, thought about it and I'm older and blah, 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 maybe you could have maybe done it, but you didn't. And, like, wherever you were in the moment, I mean, one of the things that I really find helpful in accepting is that I did the best I could, right?
Right.
I can always do it better in the future.
Mhm.
If I tried something and it didn't work out, then, I can try something else again. And I just think it's really, having compassion for yourself is
It's hard for some people.
but it's huge.
Oh, it is. You got to give yourself a break. You got to be able to pat yourself on the back.
Yeah.
Because there's
Yeah.
even if
And
you're
love
having
yourself.
even if you're having a really shitty day,
Totally.
everything's going wrong, there's still things. You're a good person. There's
Yeah.
things that you do, there's things that you continue to do. It's not your day, your week, even your year.
Life is change. You don't, it's hard to, like, I know 2020 people are like, oh my God, 2020.
Right?
But we still have the rest of the year. And this has been a very interesting opportunity to see the cracks in the systems.
Oh yeah.
And also, like, really reset. I've had more time to work on my podcast and really think about, like, what is important to me. And I'm watering my lawn. It looks great. even though it hasn't been raining. So, right.
Right. A
But
lot of
you
people. A lot of
can.
people have been cleaning out spaces, yard
Yeah.
work,
Yeah.
dump runs, any kind of
Totally.
home improvements they have been
Yeah.
putting off.
But
So,
it's nice to be able to like kind of regroup and like focus on what's really in your immediate space,
which is
because
you.
yeah, because it's you
Yeah.
also.
Right. Because
Yeah,
the better we are for ourselves, the better we can be for our partners, for our
totally.
friends, for our family, for all the people around us.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so that's one of the things. I mean, as much as it's like, ooh, I'm talking about sex, like, ooh, it's kind of salacious, orgasms and, you know, BDSM, Tantra, and like all of this sexy, sexy stuff. Like, really, what it boils down to is like present in the moment,
Right.
connection and self-care and authenticity. I mean, some stuff is like super simple, right? Like
Right.
cleaning your room. It
Yeah.
doesn't sound that sexy, but
Guilty.
honestly, when you have someone else in your bedroom and you're like trying to get the brown chicken, brown cow on, it's like, you want to have a nice space to be like, this is good,
Yeah,
right?
you don't want
And
like
like,
empty
yeah,
food dishes and
right.
you want
Yeah,
candles or you want soft things or you want hard
right.
things. I don't
Yeah,
know what
and
you want.
also clean things.
Yeah, clean things.
Probably clean things.
Yes.
And that way you can make them dirty and then wash them again. So, like the ecstasy and then the laundry, and then the ecstasy and then the laundry. And then it's like the cycle of life.
It is. It is. It's the spin cycle of life.
Totally, totally. Everything is cyclical, which is why, we're going through it now. And then we'll have like a rebirth and and I do think though that we need to be really careful when we reopen. Like, we want to be really conscious, because last night when I was outside, I think people are getting a little like pent up. And so, I see a lot of people speeding on the freeways.
Right.
And actually, okay, so this was last night at 1 in the morning, and there is a full moon. And I know that people have been quarantined for 51 days, but that doesn't mean that you can drive as fast as you can because there's nobody on the road.
Oh yeah, they've
And
been
you have
talking
to watch
about.
out.
Oh, that's what
Right.
the police have been talking about. That CHP.
There
They're
was
talking about.
a car on fire right on the freeway after I got off the freeway. And there wasn't any like emergency people around. I mean, there were a couple people pulled over around that car on fire, and I did call 911, and it was just so terrifying because it wasn't a little bit on fire. It was like
On fire.
fully on fire. And so this was like 2 in the morning. And then just as I had pulled over, in a safe place so I could call 911. And of course, my phone was in the trunk of my car. So I had to get all the way out and get my phone and blah, 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 into my purse. And then I call 911. And just as I'm pulled over, I hear another car accident. And so you really have to be careful. Because I mean, I think right now people are thinking, oh, the roads are clear. I've got all this energy pent up, and then they go unconscious, and they just,
Well, like you said, the roads are so clear. They're like, oh, this is a dream.
I can go 100 miles an hour, and
Stay out of
yes,
people's
you
ways.
could,
Yeah.
but you could also terrorize everyone, or you could actually kill someone. So
Yeah.
you don't want to do that.
Right. No, it's weird. I understand people are pent up, and I know that they're got all this energy, and even like you were just talking about travel, even from one place to another, people want
Yeah.
they're not very smart about it. So a lot of people are not the
Well,
social distancing.
Just consciousness. You have to be conscious of what are you doing? I mean, you can only really control yourself.
Right.
But you have to be careful because other people are like all flipped out and they're not in a good place right now.
Right.
And, a lot of people are affected by this super economically. People aren't able to go to work.
Yeah, they're worried about their businesses folding. They're worried about not having a job or feeding their families.
Right.
And so their minds are elsewhere.
Exactly. Or, that's taking away from their energy of being present. And as important as it is to constantly be present, it's like you really have to do it all the time. You can't just like put it on a setting and then like do something else and like you're still being present in the moment, because there's always all these other things that are taking your energy and your time and your attention. And you really have to be mindful about like, what are you paying attention to? Like, are you paying attention to what you're doing right now?
Are you in the moment?
Are you paying attention to like, oh, your phone is ringing, oh, you really are feeling worried about like this thing that you can't control, you're worried about the pandemic, which I get it, it's a lot of, I think everyone is kind of in a heightened state of stress.
Oh, yeah.
I was just talking to my friend who is a life coach, and she said that she was noticing that instead of having people be in fear and having their sexual energy be less and like smaller, she and I are both noticing that people are kind of tuned up. Like they're like, for me, I'm noticing like people are either like, I either want to fight you or I want to fuck you, so I either want to like, it's like,
there's extremes.
Kind of like
there's nothing in the middle. There's no,
well, it's more than that. It's your sympathetic nervous system. And so you're like, always looking like, do I want to fuck you? Do I want to kill you? Can I eat you? Can I fuck you?
Fight or flight?
It's
fuck
like,
or flight.
Because they're stressed, like you're a little bit tuned up, stressed out. Like, so your sympathetic nervous system is all like, how can I, because I'm feeling scarcity. I'm not like chilled out. So, can I fuck you or can I eat you? So it's like,
and not necessarily in that order, folks. Just letting you know. Please eat before you
both
fuck.
Both are not bueno. Like,
no really, bueno.
You can like, so I do love fucking and I think it's nice, right? But it needs to be like, it can't be like this taking hierarchical thing that our culture has said fucking is, right? Like, it's not a sharing of mutual pleasure. Like, I mean, that's what I think in my little idealist world that fucking should be. It should be like both people getting pleasure and getting their needs met.
Right.
And like, imagine if someone said, fuck you, and it really was an invitation to like get closer to them or share pleasure mutually. It, of course, never is. It's like the worst thing that you can say.
Right.
But the problem is that we're all like coming from this place of like, sex is bad, and if I fuck you, then I'm making you less because I'm the top partner and you're the bottom partner. And
again, it's a power thing.
Power thing, right? And so I think that we can consciously say, I'm willing to give up this kind of power for that kind of power, and I'm going to relax in the safety of this exchange. That's what BDSM is doing with like safe words and negotiation, and the bottom can get into bottom space and be totally free and transcendent and just feel even things that most people would find painful as pleasurable, because they are just able to interpret them as sexy sensations. And those sensations, of course, with BDSM are very intense. And that's why, BDSM is interpreted for people who practice that as
no amateurs,
sexy,
folks.
fun thing.
No amateurs.
Well, exactly. Like, that requires more consciousness and more communication, and it's a higher level of like making sure that your partner is okay. You can't like just like put on a hood and get a stick and be like, I'm a dominatrix now.
Right.
You have to like take a class and learn what safe words are and how to use them, and then also how to pay attention.
Because otherwise you're just torturing people. Right?
Right. Yes. You don't want to just
Oh, you just grab a stick and you just start hitting them and caning them. And
no.
does that feel good? Harder, lighter? Well, even there's negotiation. Harder,
at least
lighter.
You're asking.
Yeah.
At least you're asking.
But let's be doing this beforehand.
But don't
That's why
hit them first and then ask them how they like it, right? Like you want to
clarify that up front.
What kind of sensations do you enjoy? How can I pleasure you? You're pleasuring people with this contact, even if it's rough contact, right? Like your goal should be pleasure.
Right.
Ah.
Well, and okay, so when you're practicing BDSM, not like you're always just having sex with another person, unlike a partner, you have to. You're a team. You have to work things out. You have to.
And you have to pay attention to the other person.
Right.
So you want
well, the other person's an equal, even if one is supposed to be.
Even if one is the dominatrix or the other one is the, submissive, then they're both individuals, right? And they're both getting their needs met. And for the dom, what their need is perhaps to provide an excellent experience and help someone, attain the transcendence of subspace and, to take people on a sensation journey. And both of you can do that. And, I think that tops have to have a safe word too.
Right.
You have to be able to say, I think, what you're asking me to do to you doesn't feel safe to me. And I just want to make sure that, that I'm not going to have, guilt later because, I tie you up in a weird way and I don't really know if, maybe I don't want to compress your wrist so much. I don't want to do, maybe you have to take care of yourself as a top too and make sure that you aren't feeling bad and check in with each other later. Too.
Well, okay, so again, this is why I'm always the token straight guy on your show. I want to ask this. I thought safe words were for both. And by the way, you guys, you definitely, the reason you're watching this podcast isn't because it's the edge of insanity. You're really watching it because it's Sexploration with Monika. You can listen to her on iTunes and the Sex Talk Radio Network. You can download free podcasts at sexplorationwithmonika.com.
That's right.
And so I thought the safe words for both.
Exactly. Yeah, both of you can safe word. And I think one of the better systems for safe wording is not just to say, safe word, but to have this system of red and yellow and green.
Right.
So if it's green, that means I'm totally good. Go, go, go. And if it's yellow, then we're going to switch.
Proceed with caution.
Well, we're going to switch activities. So I'm not into, what you just did. If I'm cropping you or something, maybe change implements, but we don't have to stop the scene. And red is stop the scene. The lights come up, let's both have a warm beverage and talk about our authentic feelings.
Wow.
I mean, it's not that anyone has done anything wrong, right? You're not a bad person because
right.
You wanted to tap out.
No, it's like improv. It's like improv and scene.
Yeah, right. The curtain is going to come up now and we're going to talk about okay, here's what happened for me.
Right.
What happened for you? And really try to connect with each other.
Right. Mm-hmm. And figure out what that compromise is, because when you're having that conversation beforehand, you're literally going through a list and you're maybe, I'm simplifying things here, but your top's going to say, well, how about this? And your bottom's going to go yes or no. And then the bottom's going to go, what? Well, I like this. How about you? Well, yes or no. Everything's going to have a yes or no, and both people are going to be good with it both ways.
Totally.
But in the middle of it, you don't want to go, time out. Hold on. I don't know what's going on here. This wasn't part of the. You just want to.
You certainly can if you need to, right?
Right, but like you said, it's kind of maybe more of a direction thing. Even like when men need help or anyone needs help finding the clitoris down there.
Oh,
So a little
Evelina
bit of
Rose
direction.
gave me the really good way to do it. Also, Dr. Amy Cooper, it's the same technique. It's called the love sandwich.
The love
And so
sandwich.
you go, oh, I'm so glad that you are going down on me. It feels so good. Like, I'm so glad that you're touching me, like whatever kind of touch it is. Like, you're just acknowledging, I'm glad that we're doing this.
Right.
And then you put like the way to improve in the little creamy filling. And you're like, it would be even better if you moved slightly to the left and then kind of eased up a little bit.
No,
And then
my left. No, I'm just kidding.
it could be,
Your
be like,
other left, dude.
a little bit more gently, a little bit more firmly,
Right.
a little bit more whatever. And then, right after that, like, oh, that's really good. Oh, that feels really better. And it's just going to depend on like how well you know this person,
Right.
like how well, how much you feel like, you can direct them immediately and like keep directing, or if you need to just like direct a little bit and then reward and then kind of give them some breathing time. And then, one of the other things that I like to do,
Go ahead. I want to say something too.
activities,
Huh?
be like, if something isn't working for you, then
Right.
just change activities. So, I mean, as much as, maybe if finger sex isn't working for you, then switch to oral sex.
Right.
If, and you can always, like, one of the great things to do in a sexual scene is to change something up, to introduce like a different element or okay. So generally inviting other people is kind of something that you don't do.
Right.
I mean, certainly people have different things of what they think is acceptable and normal, and you want to kind of figure that out before.
But you wouldn't just bring a third person in there. Hey, and behind door
we're gonna
number
need
one.
some backup.
Yeah. Door number one. Come on out. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So that is a little like, maybe introduce something to the scene that is like, seems that it would be acceptable, and just be willing for your partner to say yes or no, and like pay attention to like whether or not it feels like, can you read their body language?
Well, so that's what I was just going to say before
Mm-hmm.
this, is that you do realize some people still just go in the bedroom, do their thing, and then they come out, or they're laying in bed like the movies, and was it good for you too?
You should check in.
Yeah, you really should check in, but there's still people that do that.
Was it good for you? You should like maybe check in. How is it going for you? Yeah. Well, maybe not that exact way. Like because for me, what happens is that I start to, so you have these mirror neurons where you're actually starting to feel some of the brain chemicals that your partner is feeling and experiencing. And so you'll be able to communicate through eye contact, sometimes even feel psychically like what the other person wants next, how you're feeling. Like, this is some of the like transcendence that is possible because our bodies have these built-in mechanisms for connection and communication. So as long as you're like paying attention and you're not like too drunk or too high or too, whatever, like just pay attention to your partner, feel them, smell them. Also
read the body language, whatever, right?
Exactly, read the body language. And you can really, taste and smell when someone's super turned on. And you can really, start to feel when the energy is like really dissipating. And, some of the things that you can do are, let's just cuddle and, talk, or, let's just, take a shower. Sometimes that's a really nice thing to do, especially right now, because soap kills COVID-19.
Rinse, repeat.
And showering together, oxytocin.
Hey.
Down to get down now.
And then it's the rinse, repeat thing.
Rinse, repeat. Exactly. I mean, and then, dry off, connect, talk, I think that sex, I mean, I do love a good quickie, don't get me wrong, but sex can take all day. And
Right.
especially when you're, sheltering in place, this is your quarantine mate, like, why not, take some time out to like really explore each other and, see what each other likes and,
When's the last
try
time
something new.
when's the last time someone, or at least, I'm in my 50s, so when's the last time someone has been able to go, hey, you know what? We spent the whole weekend in bed.
Yeah. Oh, that's so nice,
Right?
right? I
So,
mean, it's been a long time for me, but I'm like running around,
right.
like the best. I mean, I'm like trying to schedule sex at this point because we're so busy going from here. And I know that like but the thing is I'm single. And so I get back from my trip and I'm quarantined by myself in my little house. And as you can see, it's like a little studio. So it's like just me dinking around and I've got a garden, but
No
that's why
quarantine
I'm
mate.
like doing a lot of meditating and masturbating because and also because I really do think that it's about, like transcendence, like transcendent states are possible. And if we can explore our own bodies, like how much close, what else can we learn? And to be honest, like I've actually really learned a lot because, I've studied the full body orgasm techniques and I've studied Tantra and BDSM. And so I'm like really trying to have a real blended and self-loving approach to, be with myself where I am, but also like really trying to open up my energy centers and really trying to feel into like the little tingles on my body. Like every cell in your body is alive. And in each cell has a little like spark of life. And you might even be able to feel like, in fact, that's what a meditation is, the Vipassana, not Vipassana. Yeah, Vipassana meditation. Sorry, I get it confused with this yoga. Vinyasa flow and then Vipassana meditation. So anyway, uh, Vipassana meditation is where you feel the sensation of the cells being alive, and then you move your attention throughout your body, like feeling every cell being alive, and then you just are scanning your body, being aware of like the little gentle, it kind of feels like carbonation of your individual cells being alive.
Right.
And Dr. Amy Cooper, of who wrote the Everything Orgasm book, has done this with erogenous zones, and it's true. So she said that what you can do is you can direct your attention, your focus to your erogenous zones, and just feel whatever you feel there. Do you feel heat? Do you feel warmth? And when you start feeling that heat, you start feeling that warmth, connect with your sexiness, your desire, your enjoyment of pleasure, and you can start building arousal and sensation and not even be touching yourself, because orgasm isn't about like, whatever it is that you're doing. I mean, you
It's
can,
it's mind.
exactly, it's your mind.
You can
And
if
you
you're a
can,
guy, you could sit there and have your hands in the air
you
and
could
just be sitting there with your heart on, making it go up and down,
totally.
and it will go.
Totally. And a lot of, people who
Watch
have
out. You make sure
are
you have your
paraplegic,
PPE on, but
their sex organ is their ear,
right.
so like
Well, I was
you
gonna
can
say, yeah.
change
How do I
whatever
know?
is your sex organ. Like how you experience pleasure can change depending on, your attention and what you are training your body to explore and experience.
Well, and
So,
think about it.
mhm,
Who knows your body better than you, right?
no one. Bah, bah,
Nobody can bring
bah.
yourself to climax probably quicker. Not that it's supposed to be quicker,
Not that it needs to be quicker.
but
Yeah,
hell, I'm running late for
exactly.
work, and this shit's got to
Exactly.
get on the road.
I want to feel better right now.
Right.
Yeah.
And so who else is going to do
And
that?
at least it's positive.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's good to know yourself, and
And it
then
is consensual.
it is consensual. You don't need your own safe word.
Yeah, no. I mean, although sometimes I'm like, oh, that, I mean,
Went too
every now
far?
and then I hurt myself, you know?
You got went too far?
Oh, well, I just,
Well,
okay. So when you're aroused, you kind of lose. Okay. So you can
rational
handle a
mind.
lot more intense sensation when you're aroused than when you are not aroused. So what will happen is I'm like experimenting with like, okay, so I met a girl who could come just by pinching her nipples. And so I'm like, oh, like
That's
trying to train myself to do that. So I like pinch my nipple really hard. And like when I'm turned on, it's totally cool. It feels good. Not that I'm having an orgasm suddenly or anything, because I
right.
haven't been able to train myself in whatever, it's been a month now. But anyway, I'm just practicing,
Right.
which is it's a practice. You just keep trying,
Well,
Don't
you
judge
don't,
it.
and everybody's different, and so you don't know how your body's wired, and
Well, and
so
then afterwards in the shower later, like I was like, "Oh, that's really tender."
I went a little
And
too
like,
far.
yeah, it was when you spray the hot water on it in the shower, it was all like, "Woo,
Oh, well, so as a guy,
sensation."
well, guys have that problem too. Guys have it
Yeah.
if they masturbate too much and they don't use lube or
Oh
whatever, and
yeah. Yeah, love yourself.
yeah,
Use
and their
lube.
skin becomes owies, and
Mhm.
they don't really
And you
realize, and they
don't feel
jump in the
it in the
shower and
moment, right? Until
wow,
later.
yeah,
And then you have yourself an abrasion and it's no bueno.
no bueno.
I know.
And
I've
it's
abraded
kind of
myself
okay.
too.
Sometimes even when you have that partner and that happens because you were
Yeah.
too physical or too rough,
Well, you're just aroused.
it's
You
kind of,
love
is it
each
like a
other
battle
still.
wound? Is it kind of like having a hickey on your
It
neck?
is kind of
It's like,
awesome.
ooh,
It's
ah,
kind of
that,
like, hey,
hey,
I
that
love
hurts.
myself
That hurts
so
so good.
much.
Yeah, that hurts so good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is kind of, one of those things where I think my friend Reid Mihalko said it best. If you're generous with your genitals and you get a sexually transmitted infection, we should celebrate that. Like, congratulations! It's like an athlete that gets wounded on the field. It's not like something like, oh no, that's disgusting, we can't be your friend anymore. It's like, oh, it's so great that you're so conscious, that you're willing to get checked, that you're willing to be vulnerable to get the lab work done. And then, hey, since you're taking care of it, you take whatever is needed, the necessary steps, like take an antibiotic or something,
Right.
just get tested and
What's
move
the
forward with your life.
and what's the next thing? Talk to your partners before you have sex with them.
Yes, exactly. And also, talk about what all the things that you are positive for and all the things that you are negative for, because it's very unlikely. Because a lot of times I think people are shamed and they don't want to be like, okay, I'm positive for HSV1, which is the virus that causes cold sores, but it's also, herpes. It's a
Right.
herpes virus. And is it like a huge shameful thing that I have herpes? And I certainly can understand how people, feel shame, because they feel that judgment of society that says, you're a slut and you're not, it's not good. But the
Yeah,
thing is
you're dirty. It's kind of a
right.
you're dirty thing. Um,
Well, yeah.
okay,
And
so
I
we were
think
talking
that's
about testing.
unfair.
I don't want to go too far away from
Mm,
testing.
okay.
I love your show. I've been a fan for years, and that's why we've been friends for so many years. I get hooked on it. But now you got something going on
My new
too. You
sponsor.
have a
Yeah.
sponsor, and tell us how that happened.
It's Let's Get Checked, and they are reaching out to sex positive shows all across the country. And so I was able to get my blood test and urine test from home. So, I do all of the collection myself. They give you like a complete kit, and you take a urine sample first thing in the morning and a blood sample, and then just send it off to the lab, and it's completely anonymous. And one of the neat things is that, when you go to a doctor's office, like not only do they, like I've personally had them kind of get a little judgmental about like, why do you want to be tested so often? And they'll only test you for certain things. Like they won't test you for herpes, for example, or they won't test men for HPV. And I think it's really important, for us
Is
all to
that
be
at the
more
doctor's
conscious.
request?
Well, a lot of the reasons is that, HPV often only affects women's, like it's cervical cancer, basically.
Right.
But women wouldn't get HPV if men didn't have HPV.
Huh. Okay.
Right? Like
Right.
it's not like women are just getting HPV
Right.
without having sex with men.
Right.
So it's like, well, why are we only testing one sex for instance,
COVID-19
BV?
or anything.
Exactly. Or whatever. And, a lot of the times we're saying, if you don't, and which is true, you do have to watch out for the, um, the placebo effect. Like basically, if you think, oh my God, I have herpes, and then you're so worried that you have herpes that you might get a breakout.
I was going to say something on your. Uh-oh.
Right. Exactly. And the thing is like,
no, I don't have any
one
guess.
of those reasons is that we're so shamed about having these germs, but they are part of us, and it doesn't mean you're a bad person. And so anyway, I got tested for the complete 10, and
Wow.
it's a bunch of sexually transmitted infections that I've never been tested for because they don't test you at the doctors, so the tests that they give you are chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis, and HIV. Those are like the big four, right? So those are the ones that you can get at the doctor's office like normally.
Right.
But then they also gave me an HPV, human papillomavirus test, and then a herpes test, both 1 and 2. And usually they don't test you for that because they think, it's better for you not to know. But, personally, I always want to be given the choice. Like if I don't want to know, then I don't want to know. Then, then I won't get tested for that. But I think that the consumer should be able to make that decision just based on, what you are concerned about, what you're at risk for.
Well, you have to have the facts before you can make an educated judgment call on
what's
anything
out there, right? And there's a couple of germs that we aren't really educated about because our doctors don't talk about them, like trichomoniasis. It's like a parasite, and you can get tested for that. That's in the complete 10. And there's also ureaplasma, which is it's a kind of cell that is a sexually transmitted infection, and it doesn't have like a traditional cell membrane. So it's not like either a bacteria or a virus. It's like a plasma, but it can be shared, and then it can make you infertile, basically. So, oftentimes, one of the reasons that people aren't testing people for this is because they don't have any problems until they try to have kids, and then they start getting tested for all these different things. And I think that it's really important that if we, knew about it and could be treated up front for it, then we would be able to have less of it floating around in society, and we'd also be more conscious and aware of what we are doing with our bodies.
Now, how do we get tested for the Big Ten? I say the Big Ten because it's really 4, right? It's the big 4, but then we've got all those other ones in there those are bonus ones.
You can just, you can go online. So my code is, you're going to try, let's get checked. So you're going to try lgc.com/sexploration. So that's the link that you go to check it out, like to learn more about Let's Get Checked.
Right.
And you can see all of the sexually transmitted infections that they test for. They also will do hormone tests, like if you're transgender or if you're just wanting to check out your hormone levels. Maybe you're in menopause, maybe you're a man, you want to know, where your T level is or whatever. You can totally just be self-aware. And so the hormone tests are available for you, the vitamin tests are available, and also the STI tests. And they have all the different like levels of STIs. You can get the 3 or the 4 or whatever. And if the 10 works for you, then great, and do that. And you can also get what I think is cool, because people who are polyamorous, maybe they do want to get tested regularly. Maybe they want to get tested every 6 months. Maybe
Right.
they want to get tested once a year and they don't want to have to think about it.
Right.
You can get a subscription. You can cancel anytime and you can just sign up and they'll send you this kit in the mail and you don't even have to leave your house, which is cool because you can just schedule a UPS pickup. And like literally, it's not like you're going to the doctor and the doctor's all like, burr, burr, burr. You can just do it yourself.
Cancel
like
my
super
subscription
empowering.
to the
Yeah.
resurrection.
Exactly.
There you go. So, okay, so those links are going to be down below, guys. Plus all the references that we referenced a few people like Reid and stuff. I'm going to try to put all that
Reid
stuff on the
Mihalko,
bottom there.
ReidAboutSex.com.
Yeah, you got all that stuff on the bottom. Go read the comments. Go make sure you like and subscribe below, of course. All the stuff that Monika, including her links for Sexploration with Monika.com, the iTunes stuff, all that stuff's going to be below. What can we expect from your podcast coming up? What do you got going?
I am all about transcendence lately and using the tools and techniques of BDSM and Tantra and full body orgasm to achieve enlightenment or fun enlightenment, like fun, pleasure.
You're always like, I love how you make up your own little words, by the way. You have your, it's Monika-isms.
I just really feel like we create our own reality through our energy and anything is possible. Like, if you start studying meditation, we start connecting, with our source and our authentic being, like you can do anything, you can create anything. You just have to have the intention and the focus. And given enough time, you can manifest anything. And so one of the things that I'm really researching by interviewing tantrikas and meditators is this sense of funlightenment and enlightenment, and of course it goes moment to moment, right? Because life is change. Like you don't just achieve enlightenment or funlightenment and then it sticks forever.
Right.
But I do think that having the memory of like a new experience can really change you. And like that way you really know in your body, like you have that memory of like what's possible. And so, we're going to talk to a lot of different people about what their experience is with pleasure and sexuality and how people can literally have orgasms in 2 minutes and just like experiment and like see if we can get some mirror neurons going. Because one of the things that I'm really excited about with Zoom is that we can really like see these educators and see the way they're talking and then they're moving and like what they feel in their body and like really start to get mirror neurons with people all around the world.
You're connecting with
Exactly.
lots of different ideas
all around the world.
Right. And talking about just a variety of things going on, right?
And different things are going to work for different people.
Right.
Like some people are more into BDSM, because it's really like intense and it's got like all of that sympathetic nervous system, like excitement and arousal. And, you're wearing the whips and the chains and the, like sometimes that's really like hot and sexy for people, right?
Right.
Or like other people, they just want to relax and they want to really like feel into something, and like different things are going to work for different people. And of course life is change, and so sometimes, this is going to work for you, and then other times
No,
it's
it's
not going to
not.
work for you as
Right.
well.
Right.
And so we're all in different parts in our lives, in every moment, and we just have to like know that there's an infinite range of possibilities out there for you. And what I'm trying to do is trying to see what they all are and explore them.
There you go. All right, so it's Sexploration with Monika. Listen on iTunes and the Sex Talk Radio Network. Download
That's
free
right.
podcasts at sexplorationwithmonika.com. Thank you
Yes.
again, Monika.
Oh, thank you so much, Paul Brumbaugh with the Edge of Insanity. Woo!
I can't wait to get you back in studio.
Oh, I love you too.
Okay, I love you too, dear. Talk to you soon.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, guys, like and subscribe below. You got all those links. We'll see you next time here on The Edge of Insanity. And you see her stuff right there, guys.